Good day, everyone. I welcome you to the International Society of Behavioral Nutrition and Physical Activity Conference 2023. My name is OGEDEGBE A, and I'll be making a presentation titled A Randomized Pilot Study to Investigate the Effects of Smartwatch-Based Point-of-Choice Prompts on Sedentary Behavior Amongst Office Workers in Nigeria. This is the outline for my presentation. Sedentary behavior are behaviors in which sitting or lying is the main posture and energy expenditure is usually very minimal. These behaviors are major risk factors for developing non-communicable diseases. There's evidence that desk-based office workers, especially university workers, are physically inactive and they lead sedentary lives. This is due to the nature of their job, which is prolonged sitting. However, computer-based prompting software has been shown to reduce these sedentary behavior patterns in developed world. As earlier stated, computer-based point-of-choice prompt helps to reduce sedentary behavior and physical inactivity in developed countries. However, this is impractical in developing countries due to insufficient computer and lack of constant supply of electricity. The use of smartwatch-based point-of-choice prompts amongst office workers has become more pragmatic due to its affordability and availability. The aim of this study was to determine the effect of smartwatch-based point-of-choice prompts and education versus education alone on sedentary behavior amongst office-based workers. We made use of three sedentary behavior outcomes, which are sitting events greater than 30 minutes, total sitting time, and sit-to-stand transitions. The study design was a parallel randomized controlled trial where we had two groups, the education-only group and the education and POC group. For the education-only group, participants were educated on the disadvantages of being sedentary and the need to be more physically active. While for the education and POC group, participants were educated on the disadvantages of being sedentary, and they were also given a smartwatch-based point-of-choice prompt to prompt them occasionally to get up. The setting was amongst office-based workers, administrative staff. Ethical approval was obtained from the University of Benin, Nigeria, and the protocol registration was done with the Pan-African Clinical Trial Register. The inclusion criteria for this study were administrative workers at the university between the ages of 18 to 65 years old and who worked on desks and sat for a long period of time, that's 30 minutes and above. There were also people who were willing to provide informed consent and who were going to be available for the duration of the study. However, people who met this inclusion criteria were excluded if they had any musculoskeletal problems that prevented them from sitting for too long or standing regularly, and also individuals who are designated as clerical staff. For this study, a convenient sampling technique was adopted. Randomization was done using a computer-based random number generator and opaque envelopes to ensure adequate concealment. This was actually done by a third party to avoid bias. Sedentary behavior outcomes used were sitting events greater than 30 minutes, total sitting time, and the sit-to-stand transition. The instrument used for this study was the biodata to obtain the socio-demographic and anthropometric data of the participants, an active PAL model 4, and this was used to track the sedentary pattern of the participants, a smartwatch to prompt the participants occasionally to break sedentary patterns, and a diary was used to record the prompting and also the time each participant resumed work. Procedure for the study. The study actually took a period of 2 weeks. The first week was the baseline week and the second week was the intervention week. In the first week, the active power was given to each participant and they were asked to wear it. And so this was used to track their normal working patterns at work, which was to be compared to the intervention week. The second week, participants that were grouped either in the education only group or the education and point of choice group. Participants who belonged to the education only group were educated on the disadvantages of sitting for too long and being physically inactive, and were encouraged to break sedentary patterns every 30 minutes, while those who belonged to the education and point of choice group were educated on the disadvantages of sitting for too long and also given a smartwatch to prompt them every 30 minutes to become physically active. Sedentary reminder was always popped up whenever there was a prompt. PET test was used to estimate the change in outcome measures between baseline and intervention, while difference in change for the two groups were estimated using independent t-tests. The participants for this study were a total of 18, 9 males and 9 females, with the mean age of 42.7. There was no significant difference between socio-demographic characteristics between the two groups. This table shows the sedentary behavior of participants in both groups at baseline and after intervention. From this table, we can see that there was only a significant difference in sit-to-stand transition. This table shows the independent t-test comparison of sedentary behavior outcomes between education and POC group. And from this table, we can see that there was significant difference in sitting events greater than 30 minutes. From this study, we can say that point of choice prompts and education has the potential to reduce sedentary behavior. Both groups had significant positive effects on sit-to-stand transition. But relative to the education alone, smartwatch-based prompts led to a decrease in sitting events greater than 30 minutes. These findings suggest that a point of choice prompt has the potential to reduce sedentary behavior among office workers. Recommendations: the use of smartwatches with sedentary prompts should be implemented in offices where staff spend most of their working hours in sitting position. And then there's also a need for a larger RCTs to establish the effectiveness of the smartphone-based point of choice prompts. These are my references. Thank you.